know the way. I guess you could read The Way of Unknowing, or John Maine. Anyway, it's growth in the presence. There are all sorts of extravagant claims made for the benefits of meditation. You can hear it said that if you work for a large organization, meditating will help you get on better with the boss. Or if it will increase efficiency and productivity, reduce stress, make you a more successful person all around. Such claims are put forward because we are so materialistic in our society. It's hard for us to realize that there can be something worth doing in or for itself without any payoff. Everything has to pay off. Why meditation is so important for us is that it helps us to realize this and to live our lives as a process of integrated growth, to live meaningfully is to know our lives as a constant deepening maturity. Nothing, I suppose, is sadder than a person who lives year to year, but somehow never grows up and never truly integrates his or her experience. This is being read cold. I haven't read it before. We're just assuming that it's good. Why do you assume? Because we're reading from John Maine, and we're just going to assume that what he writes is good. Meditation is important because it leads you to that first step in all growth, which is rootedness. By meditating every morning and every evening, you set out daily on the way to rootedness. Get rooted. Growth of a whole person unfolds by our becoming rooted in our own deepest, most innermost center. In our society, all sorts of helps are given to us to grow intellectually. Not so many are given to us to grow spiritually. To find and become familiar with our spirit, the center of our personal identity, is to begin to live from the power of that center, no longer blown around by every wind that happens to ruffle the surface. We learn to be rooted in ourselves. Growth needs planting. And rooting, it also needs cultivation, meditation, because of its highly practical orientation, leads us day in and day out to cultivate the life of the spirit, to return to that rootedness in our center. Learning to sit well, still upright. Learning to sit well, still, and upright is very helpful to this rooting in reality. It is the first step away from self-concern into a whole frame of mind and a being in which we are both lost and find ourselves in that greater reality of which we are part. Let the mantra sound in your heart and mind, or let the mantras, if you have more than one, rooting you gently in the center. Let all peripheral thoughts and all activity of the imagination go. Do not try to repress or erase it. Let the constantly sounding mantra or mantras gently lead you to a depth beyond words and thoughts and images. This is particularly difficult for modern people because we are so used to defining ourselves as rational creatures, and unless we are engaged in some sort of ratiocination, we feel that we are not really justifying our existence. Meditation can teach us simply how to to be one, whole and attentive in the presence of God's being. That is what meditation is about, coming into the presence of the one who is. And what you will discover, and you can only discover it for yourself, is that simply to be in his presence is all sufficient. That is, when you fully are the person he has created you to be, this is not a question of payoffs or side benefits, but of our destiny and meaning. It is necessary to meditate every day, and that too is hard for people of our society. Undertake such a discipline that is not concerned with what we are going to get out of it, but simply concerned with being. Being the person you have been created is to be rooted in your own deepest spiritual center. The cultivation of growth is simply the daily return, every morning and evening, to the practice, saying your word, sounding your word, and thereby entering into greater and greater simplicity. It's like the simplicity is getting greater and greater. Is that odd? Greater and greater simplicity. Aristotle defined eternity as a perpetual now. The power of meditating is that we seek to be fully in this present moment, not thinking about the past, not regretting the past, weeping over it, analyzing it, not planning for the future. God is, and God is love, God is now. Meditation is growth and transcendence, just as the plant that is rooted in that we cultivate is in a constant state of self-transcendence, leaving behind its former state and being what it is now. So are we on this journey of spiritual growth. The seed is the shoot is the stalk is the fruit, and so on. Meditating is just that flowing movement of self-transcendence that unfolds as one reality, the person who we are in God's eternal presence. In meditation, we are simply as wholly and fully open to the love of this present moment as possible. Faithful to it, returning every morning and every evening. Our capacity for love is in a state of constant daily growth, a constant deepening of quality, an expansion of range. This is what St. Paul understood as the fruit of faith in the process of living the Christian life. Quote, so shall we all at last attain to the unity inherent in our faith and our knowledge of the Son of God, to mature manhood, measured by nothing less than the full stature of Christ. Ephesians 4:13. Meditating is the way to unity, a total harmony between body and spirit. It is the way into the infinite mystery of God's love as we grow in a full resonant harmony between our spirit and his spirit. Remember the way. Sit still. Sit still. Sit upright. And then, silently, deep in your heart, say your word, or words, or mantras, or panch shabd. Say it from the beginning to the end. When you begin, you will find that your thoughts stray and wander. Do not be discouraged or disheartened. You will learn to be humble. But as soon as you realize you have strayed from the word, return to it. And return to it again and again. Be faithful, be patient, and find the time. Be prepared for the challenge to meditate for a minimum of 20 minutes. Or for an optimum period of half an hour, or even extend it till it gets up to 2.5 hours. You can go in 3 breaks, 3 sessions of 2 hours for 6 hours. Or you can, or for beginners, you do 20 minutes for an optimal period of half an hour. Every morning and every evening of your life, every single day. God. Do you think that every morning and every evening? That's pretty strengthening in itself, even if it was 20 minutes. I think that's actually a good start. A minimum of 20 minutes for morning and evening for beginners or advanced. Advanced should not miss morning and evening. The journey is a journey beyond self, beyond limitation, into the limited love of God. But it really should be 3 or 4 hours in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, or 1 hour in the afternoon and 1 in the evening, or 2 in the evening, or 4 hours in the morning, or 6 hours, or 6 hours in the morning, or depends on the level of professional. I read from page 21 of John Main, Growth in the Presence, The Way of Unknowing, Expanding Spiritual Horizon Through Meditation. John Main, I have personally been gifted by the wisdom of this man. I have personally been gifted by the wisdom of this man, John Main. I could agree with that. Yeah. This is for Christian meditation. Christian meditation, The Way of Unknowing, read from John Main.